Right, so now we're going to do a tip. We've previously prepped the client, white pushback nip shape buff, also another video that you can watch on our website. We're just going to wipe over with the nail wipe solution and then straight on with the PHC. The PHC is our secondary dehydrator, so it will simply dehydrate the top layer of the nail without leaving any damage or dry brittle nail behind. We'll take our clear gel. We're going to put the clear gel onto the nail, so underneath the actual tip has got gel. So when we're working with the tip, when we're blending the line, we're going to be blending onto the gel section of the nail, not the naked nail. Therefore, we will not be causing any damage to the naked nail. Getting as close as you can to the cuticle and all around the side walls of the nail with the gel, but obviously no gel touching the skin. Use a second ball of gel to thicken up the first coat of the really super duper accurate gel. And then, of course, we want to do our 4 checks. During our 4th check, I've noticed there's a slight dip in this particular nail. Now, what that would mean, there might not be full contact with the nail and the tip. So I'm just going to put sausage shapes of gel over the nail to build up the area that's got the little dip in it. Therefore, when I put the tip on, I know it's going to sit perfectly flush and therefore have full contact with the nail and the tip, leaving no bacteria's space gaps to get into. So that is a 1-minute cure for the clear gel. And of course, if I was doing a full set, I would be working on a nail on the other hand. For now, I'm going to clean my brush and get the rest of my products ready. So before we start any service, we always put our tools in the order we're going to use them. So you can clearly see the tip order here. We start off by wiping, which of course will be the wipe at the end of the preparation. We're then going to add on the PHC. The PHC is the secondary dehydrator to ensure that the gel stays on perfectly. We're then going to put on the first coat of the 2 coats of clear required for strength. We put 1 coat underneath the tips and then we put a second coat over the top of the tips. We're basically sandwiching the tip in between the 2 strongest parts of the nail, the 2 coats of the gel. Once we've cured it for a full minute, obviously switching and apply in and out of the lamp, we're going to wipe the shine away, wipe the sticky away, get rid of the shine, wipe the dust away. We'll then size up the tips with our brand new tips just released this week. This video is filmed in October 2016, by the way. We're now going to wipe over to remove the sticky that remains on the nail. Buffing away the shine, as sticky resin, like sticky gel, does not like a shiny surface. And wipe over. Could I have the resin out of the beauty box, please? And of course we need to take our tips and size them up. So we hold the tip over and we look from every single angle to make sure that it is in fact the correct size for the nail. You're better to have a tip to be too large than a tip to be too small. Therefore, try different sizes and see what suits you. Of course, the tip itself must be long this side and long that side. All the way down this side matching, all the way down this side matching. That one's slightly too big, so I'll go with the slightly smaller one. If you're ever between sizes, you always go with the bigger one and file it down slightly. That one is in fact perfect. So we'll put our lid back on our tip box, as we don't want to drop our tip box and obviously end up causing a problem to it. Sticky gel doesn't like a shiny surface, so we must remove all of the shine from the tip before we can stick it on. Thank you. If we remove the shine from the tip before we put it on, every stroke that we are doing now is one less that we would be doing when we're actually working on the client's fingers. I also need my tip cutters. I'm so sorry, girls. Fortunately at Bellissima, we've got a fabulous team in the office that are more than happy to help at any point. Thank you very much. So we've got our tip cutters there. So we've taken the shine off of the section of the nail that's going to be used, leaving the section that's going to be cut away. It's got the shine on, that's absolutely fine. So we're going to take our little finger and flick out the dust. Opening up our resin here, we're going to add in some resin into this section at the end of the nail where it's going to be stuck on. You are better off having too much resin than not enough. Obviously too much will mean it will just spill out over the sides. Not enough will mean that there'll be a gap within the actual area that's meant to be stuck and therefore bacteria can get in. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to get the tip over into my right hand with my thumb on the top. I'm then going to have my middle finger on my left hand in position ready to push up. So I'm pushing up in this area here with this finger here, and this thumb here is pushing down. I'm going to hover over, matching up the sides of the nail perfectly, and when I'm happy in position, I'm going to lower it down. I'm going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing with this finger and this thumb to ensure that I've got no gaps or any areas where the where the glue isn't stuck, therefore there'd be a break and bacteria could get through. We're going to hold for about 8 to 10 seconds and then release. Because I'm just doing the one as it's a video instruction rather than a full set, I'm going to put the lid back on my resin. I'm then going to take my tip cutters and wipe. If you get your wipe very wet and just wipe over to remove any excess resin that may have spilled out, the wet wipe will of course wipe the excess resin away. If you worked with a dry wipe, the dry wipe would of course get stuck. What sort of length and shape are we going for today, madam?
Quite long, please.
Okay, so a nice sensible length then. So we're going to take a little bit, and then we're going to take a little bit more, and then we're going to take a little bit more, and so on. Bearing in mind that we're going to see our client every 4 weeks, therefore the nails will actually be 4 millimetres longer by the time she comes back again. So if the client's asked for her nails to be quite long, of course we need to bear in mind that in 4 weeks' time they're going to be extremely long, therefore we must allow for that. Whatever shape you're doing, I'd always recommend you start off by tapering the tip in on itself. Nothing makes a set of nails look cheaper than nails that fan out at the ends like this. It's sort of shovel effect at the end of the nail looks absolutely awful. If you taper the nail in, and then of course you need to create the shape into it. So notice I've got my thumb on top of the nail because I'm actually giving it a little bit of protection. Before it's got the gel applied to the top of it, it's actually only got the gel underneath and then the glue on. So rather than filing away like a crazy person, I put my thumb over the top, and then that way I bend the finger down to myself and I give the tip a little bit of protection. So we want to get the line now completely invisible. I'm using the white side of the file and I'm filing and looking. I'm not filing continuously because of course I don't want to cause a friction burn on my client. I'm going over and I'm filing and I'm looking. All the while ensuring that the line is being attacked by the file. When you're blending, it's very important to make sure that your file isn't flat. That's a flat file angle. If you're filing flat, you're only going to be getting the tip as the tip is stuck on top of the gel. Therefore, if you change your file angle so it's angled backwards like that, the back section of the file will be getting the gel, whilst the front section of the file will be getting the tip, and that's what's going to create the blending. So if you do see that your blended line isn't blending away as quickly as you'd hope, it's highly likely going to be your file that's at the wrong angle. Therefore, change your file angle and it should blend back perfectly easily and very quickly. I don't want you to keep going over and over and over and over to do your blending. I want you to blend a little and then do the wet trick to check. The next stage after the blending is going to be to put the second coat of the clear on, and of course the clear is going to make the nail look wet. So if you cheat and you get the nail wet with the nail wipe and the lint-free wipe, that's what that would look like if it had the clear gel on it. Therefore, we know that that is actually blended sufficiently. We don't need to take any more time out of our day to blend that line anymore because, of course, we've got the line blended away how it looks when it's got the clear gel on it. So now we're going to buff over the top to get out the deep scratch marks that the white bar puts in. And of course wipe away the dust. This nail is now finished with its top layer of clear gel, which we'll use this one, and then colour, colour and top coat, much the same as we did when we were working on the naked nail. So again, ball of gel over and then spread around. And the second ball to thicken up, as your wetting layer always goes on in 2 halves, 2 balls. If you do 2 balls of gel rather than 1 large one, you've got less chance of flooding your cuticle or your side walls. If you do it in 2 balls, you can do the first layer super duper accurately, and then the second layer goes on just to thicken up. when you do your 4 checks, you're not only checking to see if you've got any gel touching the cuticle, but you're also checking to make sure that you're not so far away that the client's going to need an infill earlier than 4 weeks. You want to get the gel as close as you can to the cuticle, but with no gel touching the skin. And that will be our clear finished with. And then it would be on with colour, in for 30-second cure in LED, second coat of colour, in for 30 seconds in LED, the top coat, and then we'd obviously finish off by wiping. I'm not going to show you that, but if you want to see the application of the colour, you can look at one of our previous videos.